Just in the past year, there have been 3 incidences of performance-enhancing drugs in the NBA. This took place with Deandre Ayton, Wilson Chandler, and John Collins. The NBA's policy allows for several random drug tests throughout the year and several more for, quote, reasonable cause, whatever they determine that to be. Just ask Bradley Beal after his 55-point game. The NBA's policy allows them to do basically all they can to keep the sport clean, but with 3 players of the past year testing positive, and knowing they're just the ones that got caught, it seems a fair question to ask. Does the NBA have a steroid problem? Konnichiwa, my friend, welcome to Takes in Fuego. Today we take a look at steroids in basketball. When there is so much incentive, both financially and for legacy, to succeed, why wouldn't players risk getting caught when the upside seems so high? As of right now, you can bet on who will be the next player to test positive for performance-enhancing drugs. On the top of that list are LeBron James, Joel Embiid, and Zion Williamson. Seems impossible, right? The stars of the sport and faces of the franchise being caught for performance-enhancing drugs? Well, 2 weeks into the 2019 season, there were 3 suspensions already, and there seems to be a history of steroids in sports. Just ask Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, Jason Giambi, Curt Schilling, Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, and the other baseball stars who use steroids. Not that it's just baseball either. You could ask Julius Peppers, Sean Merriman, Pat and Kevin Williams, Antonio Gates, Richard Sherman, allegedly, Alshon Jeffrey, Julian Edelman, or Terry Bradshaw. But not that steroids stop in baseball or football. Just ask Arnold Schwarzenegger, Hulk Hogan, John Jones, Serena Williams, allegedly, but also probably, Macho Man Randy Savage, or Brock Lesnar. It's pretty simple. There's tremendous pressure to succeed, so some people are going to do whatever it takes. Yet the number of players who test positive for banned substances in the NBA is the smallest of any major American sport. In fact, in the entire history of the NBA, only 13 players have tested positive for banned substances. Out of 450 players every single year, that number is close to 0. Could it be that the NBA is the most squeaky clean of all the leagues? Could it really be that few players use performance enhancers? Not according to some. In an ESPN The Magazine interview, Derrick Rose was asked to rate the NBA in PED use from 1 to 10. His answer was 7. He went on, "It's huge, and I think we need a level playing field, where nobody has an advantage over the next person." Former coach George Karl would say something similar in his book, Furious George. It's obvious some of our players are doping. How are some guys getting older, yet thinner and fitter? How are they recovering from an injury so fast? I think we want the best athletes to succeed, not the biggest, richest cheaters employing the best scientists. Sources say that PED tests and PED scientists are at somewhat of an arms race to beat each other. On a drug test, you can't test for every single drug that's been invented. For example, most over-the-counter drug tests test for 4 to 12 drugs. Drug testing for all the hundreds of performance-enhancing substances is not only extremely expensive, but impossible. Scientists will tweak a chemical bond here and there to get it under the radar of these tests. Players may also be taking what's known as microdosing, perhaps made most famous by Lance Armstrong, where you take a very small amount of a drug that will still test you negative on a drug test. Or players will use diuretics to make them eliminate the performance-enhancing drug, which players have already been caught for. Some bigger names have been caught for using banned substances: Birdman, Rashard Lewis, Hedo Turkoglu, OJ Mayo, and Joakim Noah. In a way, it's easy to understand why these players do it. Each one of these players were past their prime and just couldn't keep up physically, at least to what they once were. Add 82 across the country flights and 82 48-minute NBA games where you bang bodies on the block, take charges as 250-pound men collide into you as you stand still, and get to the other end of the court while doing it, it's easy to see why players want to keep a physical advantage. Perhaps more concerning is some recent tests with the young players, showing this may not just be a problem with the older stars of the sport. Recently, Deandre Ayton popped for a diuretic designed to eliminate other performance enhancers from the system, and John Collins for a growth hormone to increase appetite and build mass. If there really was a PED problem inside the NBA, wouldn't it get out? Nearly all of the players are connected to the internet, to journalists, and having their day documented in some fashion or another every day. On the other hand, there have been a surprise 3 suspensions this year. It appears the league is trying to send a message. We are trying to level the playing field. The 3 suspensions, all within the first 2 weeks of the season, seem to raise the question: has the NBA just started cracking down and this problem has been there all along? I guess only time will tell. If you've made it through till the end of this video, if you could do me a favor and hit the like button, you'd help me out a lot because of, algorithms. For the highest jumpers in NBA history, check out the video on the screen and be sure to subscribe for the best performance enhancement information.